Hey friends! Welcome to Spirit Club, a podcast and community that is all about doing the inner work to live an aligned and, dare I say, happy life. I'm your host, spiritual guide and intuitive, Angell Kelly, and I'm here to share my teachings along with messages passed on to me from higher consciousness. I've also got incredible guests in store to help you go down all those spiritual rabbit holes. So let's go! Welcome to the club! Hey everyone! Hey Spirit Club! Thanks for coming back, and we are here for another solo episode. Today we are going to talk about everyone's favorite thing to do, manifestation. And it's kind of like a timely time to talk about manifestation because a lot of you I know are thinking about what it is you want to call into your life in 2025. So today we will talk about my take on manifestation and some troubleshooting tips if your manifestation process isn't working for you. Now I just want to talk about how manifestation has become trendy and a buzzword for years now. And I think that's a really cool thing because that means that people are starting to take ownership of their lives, and most people now just have a regular practice around it. So I think that's really cool. And I'm curious who here was into manifestation back in the days of The Secret? Who knows what I'm talking about? FYI, The Secret was 18 years ago. Okay? Yikes. But that is when it all started for me, when I read The Secret, watched the movie, something clicked, and I can remember my best friend and I trying to manifest $1,000 and working really, really hard at it. And then I also remember it not working out. And we will talk about why that is today. But that's really where it all, where I had the mind shift 18 years ago. And now, today, there are countless experts and books written on the topic. And I just want to be clear, none of which I have read. I haven't studied manifestation or studied the experts. What I'm sharing with you today comes from 18 years of trial and error on the subject, along with many years of subconscious reprogramming work. And then in the last few years, working with clients and really seeing the deeper energetics behind how it works. So that's sort of the lens in which I'm sharing today. And not to toot my own horn, but I don't know if it's my double Taurus placement or what it is, but I really get it. I really have a foundational understanding of manifestation, and I can really see how it's working in my life quite clearly and how it's working in the lives of my clients. So I want to start today with talking about what manifestation is because it's more simple than you think. Manifestation is simply creating reality. And the product of manifestation is the external reality that you co-create with God or the universe. Okay, so that's what the product of manifestation work is. The external reality you co-create with God. That's it. So we are manifesting all the time. All the time. And whether you're conscious of it or not, having a manifestation practice is really just putting your hands on the wheel. But you are manifesting all the time. So when you say manifestation isn't working for me, that's not true. It is working for you. Everything in your external reality, you have manifested into your external reality. What you actually mean is when I try to take control of what I want to call into my life, that doesn't work. And we're going to talk about today how to troubleshoot that. So let's quickly talk about what I'm going to call the mechanics of manifestation as I see and understand them. So from an energetic standpoint, you create or attract into your life the energy that you are holding, the energy that you are vibrating at. Your external life is a reflection of that. And what determines the energy that you're holding? Your beliefs. And where do your beliefs live? In your subconscious. So therefore, your subconscious is where you're manifesting from. So knowing this, you can start to see why you might be manifesting things that you don't consciously want, right? So like, let's say, I don't consciously want unavailable men. That's not the words that I'm saying. I want available men. That's what my conscious mind is saying. But my subconscious mind is clearly saying something else if that's what you are attracting. And so this may be one of the reasons why your manifestation process isn't working for you, but we'll dive into that. So I have 6 troubleshooting tips for you to apply to your manifestation practice. And don't worry, I will share my manifestation practice at the end. Okay, so number 1 troubleshooting tip, and why your manifestation practice may not be working for you is because you're trying to manifest by changing your thoughts. So this, in my opinion, is why The Secret was misleading. Not wrong, but misleading. Because changing our thoughts can be dang near impossible if you don't change what's creating those thoughts, which is your beliefs. So you can imagine like your thoughts as this like deep groove in your mind. And so you're easily going to fall into this groove. And to try to consciously change your thoughts is like trying to get out of that groove every day. It's really hard. It requires a lot of focus, determination, discipline to fight that groove. It's going to require a lot of grit. But alternatively, you can address the belief in your subconscious, and then it will just create a new pathway for you, and you don't have to just fight that groove every day. So let's give a simple example of why trying to manifest by changing your thoughts is hard and not working for you. So if you believe that you aren't worthy of money, some of your thoughts may be things like, I'm broke all the time. Money doesn't come easy for me. I'll never stop struggling with money. Making money is hard. Those might be some of your thoughts. Okay? So now if you were trying to just adjust your thoughts, you'd be like, with grit, and every day in the mirror, you'd be like, I am rich. Money comes easy to me. I don't have to work hard for money. You might be just trying to change your thoughts through, positive affirmations. But the underlying belief is still operating. I'm not worthy of money. So it's really just like, you're just like sticking stickers on top of the belief and trying to hide the belief. You know what I mean? And really, it's going to feel like you're lying to yourself and like you're being fake and inauthentic. And it won't feel true. And that's why it's not working. Like it really has to feel true to you. And so once you start to shift that belief, even just a little, then your thoughts will start to feel more authentic. When you shift those thoughts. So, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So yes, your thoughts create your reality, as your behaviors and actions do as well. But what drives all those things? Your beliefs. So you need to address the belief. Okay? And the best way to do that is through any subconscious reprogramming work. There are so many techniques out there, guys. I will link some in the show notes. As I mentioned before, Lacey Phillips' To Be Magnetic program is excellent. A friend of mine, Nicole Christine of the Spiritual Sisters podcast, she does some work in this area. I'll link her. A friend of mine, Elisa, does Psychic K work. And then I also have a subconscious reprogramming offering, which I'll talk about at the end. Okay, number 2. Second troubleshooting tip, second reason why your practice may not be working for you is because you are shooting too far out of your current reality. So I'm not saying don't shoot for the stars, but I am kind of saying that. So remember that what you manifest, what you bring into your life, is a reflection of the energy you're holding. Okay, so if you're vibrating at minimum wage and you're trying to manifest millionaire, that's a big jump, guys. That's a big jump. So let's work our way there, shall we? So before I talk about this technique, this is something that I have always done, but Nikki Novo, she talked about it on a podcast, some time ago, and I'm going to explain this technique. And so I just want to give a little credit to her here, because when she put it into words, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's what I've been doing. It all makes sense. So let's use an example of, say, I want the podcast to blow up. So my podcast is new. It's a baby. This is episode 20, okay? So I'm not going to if I pick the manifestation of I want 10,000 downloads on next week's episode, it's a little far out of my reality, right? So instead, I'm going to pick something just outside of my reality that I can expand my energy into. So that's going to be 100 downloads for the next episode, or for this episode. Let's say that for this episode. So once I've expanded my energy to be able to match 100 downloads for the next episode, then I can move on to expand further to, let's say 200, and then I can work my way up to 10,000. So that's my second troubleshooting tip for you, is to make sure that your manifestation, what you're trying to call in, isn't way too far out of your current reality. All right. Third troubleshooting tip is around, or a mistake that you may be making, is that you want it all. So what do I mean by this? This is the case where you're trying to manifest X, but you're not willing to let go of Y. So I've talked about this a lot, that with every up level comes a letting go. So as you move into something bigger, as you expand into a bigger energy, not everything of your current energy and reality can come with you. And that's just one of the hard parts about growth, really. So if you're trying to call in something and you have to let go of something else, and you're not willing to let go of that, you're going to have a hard time calling that next thing in, okay? So I'll try to give you a tangible example. So let's say you are trying to manifest making more money yourself, okay? And you've worked on the belief, and you are working on feeling worthy of that money, and you're expanding your energy into the next level, and yet you're still receiving money from your ex-husband or from your mom, money support. So something that you might have to let go of to really almost back up the belief that I'm worthy and I can make my own money, you will have to let go of receiving that support. And that's the little can be hard to do piece. Okay, fourth mistake you may be making around manifesting is that you don't actually want what you're trying to manifest. And this one you might be like, that's weird. Of course I want what I'm trying to manifest. But, sometimes we don't totally understand what we want. I did an episode on this, what you think you want. Go back and listen to that one. But sometimes we convince ourselves that we want something because we've been programmed into wanting that thing. And it's not truly aligned with the calls of our heart, with our soul's path. So it's inauthentic. And I'm sure you can understand that when you're trying to make your energy match the thing that you're calling in, and it's inauthentic, you're not going to be able to make your energy match it. So go listen to episode 16 on what you think you want, if this you think might be your troubleshooting tip. Okay, fifth mistake you may be making around your manifestation process is that you aren't focusing on it or putting energy into it consistently. So where attention goes, energy flows, right? So you can't just like throw out into the universe, I am calling in more money once and hope that like, and then be like, oh, it doesn't work. It didn't come right back to me. You have to work on it every day if you can. So, you know, you may need to be working on the limiting belief and reprogramming that. You may need to be working on holding the new energy of what you're trying to bring in. You may need to be working on taking action that aligns with that new belief and expanded energy, watching for what the universe is reflecting back to you. All the above. This is actually what gets in the way of my own personal manifestation practice. I get so like swept up in my 24/7 job that I just like, I lose hold of the energy that I'm trying to expand into and hold. So this is where accountability is the bomb. Okay, so like if you have a friend that's also trying to manifest something. My friends and I used to do this together back in the day. It was so fun. 10 out of 10 recommend. Is to work with friends and be like, okay, this is what I'm trying to manifest. And like you check in with each other, you share things with each other, and it will keep you accountable to trying to do the work around that manifestation. Group programs are great, all that sort of thing. Okay, and last manifestation troubleshooting tip is you are being too specific or too controlling about what you're trying to call in. So I've saved this one for last because this is part of the reason that I don't talk about manifestation a lot with my content, with my programs, with my clients. And it's because over the years I've watched as manifestation has become more trending and growing, it's like really turned into just another way that we humans try to control life. And for me, you know, years ago when I understood the power, when I practiced surrender and releasing control is where I started to see the most magic happen in my life. So that sort of was like a bit of a breakup for me, or a breakdown with having a manifestation process. It can be a little too restrictive and controlling. So now my manifestation practice has become a yes and kind of thing. So yes, I take ownership of my external reality and what I'm trying to create, and I surrender to God's will. I do both. And I know that that sounds like contradictory, but life is more nuanced than black and white. We all know that. So to me, the ultimate manifestation is manifesting towards a goal for the sake of having like something to direct your energy at and being unattached to the outcome. Okay? So it's a yes and. So if we go back to that podcast example, I may be trying to manifest more downloads and grow the podcast, and then inflows in some other completely unrelated opportunity. So I'm doing the work around growing the podcast, but then inflows some other opportunity. I'm going to pay attention to that. I'm like, okay, I'm active in my manifestation process right now. What flows in is probably a sign from God. This is like maybe a redirect, and maybe it's not this specific thing I was trying to call in, but I'm going to listen and I'm going to pay attention, and maybe I'm going to follow that, and I'm going to find out, oh, that's more aligned on my path. You know what I mean? Because the thing is that we have to remember that God, the universe, whatever word you want to use, has a much higher perspective, and like there are way more possibilities that God can see than we can see. We see this one narrow strip of possibility. Oh my God, there are infinite possibilities. So there needs to be some flexibility in your manifestation practice in order to allow like true alignment to come in. Okay. So I hope those troubleshooting tips, my goodness, that's hard to say, help you with your manifestation practice. And, you know, I think it's really fun to like find one that really works for you, because this is creating your life. This is something that you will do always. You are doing always. So you might want to look at the ways that work best for you. But regardless, I'm going to share with you guys my practice, and you can take from it what you want. It is not the only way that it works. So let's stick with the podcast example so that I can just take an example through. And it's actually something that I am working on manifesting right now. So number one, first thing I'm going to do is decide what it is I want to call in, what it is I'm trying to manifest. So I'm going to stick with the podcast example, and I want to call in 100 downloads per episode. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to intuitively feel into what blocks there may be, what beliefs may be operating in my subconscious that are going to hold me back from calling that in. Okay, so I won't share all of them, but one of the ones I've been working through is around being seen. So then I'm going to do my subconscious reprogramming work around being seen. So then I am going to, in meditation every day, I literally visualize expanding my energy into the energy of someone, of Angell, who has 100 downloads per episode. Okay, so what does it feel like to be her? What are some of the things that might happen when she's getting consistent 100 downloads per episode? And what may be some actions that she takes? So, for example, one of the actions that came up was to ask all of you who are listening that if you are finding value from today's episode or from any of the episodes, I would love and so appreciate if you would share it with a friend. You don't have to, just only if you think that it would help somebody else out. Thank you very much. So there's an action, an example of an action that I might take that if I were holding that energy, that's something that I might do. And then finally, I'm going to keep my eyes and ears open for clues from God for any redirection, anything that might be more aligned. Again, like I said, I'm not trying to control the outcome. If God's like, no, growing the podcast, that's not the direction for you. Watch, go this way. Then I will go that way. Okay, so it's just like not holding a like death grip on this outcome, being open that there might be an even more powerful path. So that's my practice. And I try to do that every morning. I try to hold the energy every morning, take actions every week. And like I said, my biggest struggle is just staying focused on the practice when the rest of life is going on. So I'm going to take my own advice and get some accountability with a friend. Okay, I hope this helps everybody as you're working on your 2025 manifestations. And I want to let you all know that I've added a service to my offerings, a subconscious reprogramming session. Honestly, I talk about it so much and it comes up so much in readings that I was like, oh my goodness, I need to just make this an offering and make it available to the public because it is just like work that we all need. So what will happen if you have a subconscious reprogramming session with me? We will pinpoint the belief that we want to work through some coaching, and then I will do a guided healing. We'll call it a guided healing that's going to address your subconscious, and then you will walk away with that healing to keep reinforcing it in the weeks ahead. So you can find that in the show notes. Okay, that's it. Thanks everybody for coming, and we would love to hear what it is that you're trying to manifest in 2025. I don't know how you'll share. As a comment in Spotify. Let's do that. Okay,